All right, people. Greetings and peace. My name is Neo, and I'm here to share some info with the people. Okay, in this video right here, I am going to share with you all about the information that I have learned throughout my personal development years regarding our beliefs and the importance of the beliefs the effects that they have on our relationships. Okay, now first things first, what I want to do is share with you briefly my background so that you can actually see where I get my information from and got my information from. Because a lot of these people on YouTube, believe it or not, if you haven't really thought about it, they do not tell you about where they get this information from, and then they just call themselves whatever relationship coaches, dating coaches, or, or whatever, or they don't even call themselves anything, but they still don't tell you where they got the information from. So for me, I started my personal development journey sometime in between 2006 and 2008 after a relationship breakup that I had with a woman years ago. And after the breakup, like right when she left out of the door, I sat down. Let me make sure that this is recording. All right. I sat down by myself wondering what is the next thing I wanted to do. And I said to myself, the very first thing I said to myself out loud, and this is my ego, very first thing is, well, okay, well, I'll just move on to another to another relationship. And believe it or not, that is literally one of the first things that a lot of people go ahead and do. They think that going to another relationship is a good thing to do, but no. After your breakup, the most important thing to do actually is to spend more time alone analyzing the previous relationship that you just got out of, and looking at a variety of things that you did and didn't do that either helped or harmed the relationship, and also learn about the other person, the things that they did and didn't do. But first, you got to do it after you get through all of the emotionalism, because the emotionalism comes from the ego. The ego is the false self, but I'll go into that another time. So what I did was, for me, after I said that out loud, then there was a voice that came through and said, and literally this is the spirit side, and this is part of my spiritual journey, said, what makes you think you are ready for another relationship? And then after that, I stopped and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, you know what? That is true, because my mother didn't teach me, my father didn't teach me. Their relationship was crap, and that didn't work out successfully because they officially divorced when I was age 4. So, and it's four of us. It's four of us, and they divorced when I was at age 4. And then, and come to think about it, that makes me think something else just revealed to me about my mother and my okay, so that is something personal that I just thought of. So then, from then on, I was like, you know what? There was nobody who taught me relationships. So how do I know relationships? And I was like, yo, this is ridiculous. I don't know about relationships. So I need to figure out what I need to learn about about relationships, so that I know how to exist successfully within them in general, including a committed relationship with a woman. So that's exactly what I did. I went on my own journey, and at first, I'm telling you, I did not know where to start, and which most people do not know where to start. And for me, one of the top things I did start on it was John Tess. I remember the years before that breakup, I used to listen to John Tess in the car with my mother, and like right before a commercial or right before a song he would play, he would give like these facts about relationships and life in general, but a large portion was about relationships. So I was like, okay, well then, and at that time I didn't know what channel he was on, like years later. So I went to, I think I Googled it or something like that. Either Googled it or found it on YouTube, or Yeah, I think I found his website years ago, and then that led me to the stuff that he had on iTunes. And then from there, he mentioned something about a book called Straight Talk for Men About Marriage. And then I got that book, and boy, that got me started on a lot of different stuff, and it had me more looking toward inwardly about myself and figuring out things that's going on with me that needs to be resolved. And the book is titled Straight Talk for Men About Marriage. And reading that book has a little bit of Christianity in it, so it's like somehow, some way, if you're not into religion, definitely find a time and a way to be able to bypass that aspect, which I had to do that too. It had a little bit of Christianity in it, so you're gonna have to figure out ways to just get the facts to help you out. So from then on, it's just been a whole bunch of Psychology Today magazines. I used to be subscribed to that, and that has vital information into it. And then I go into a lot of other stuff about the different books that I've read. I'm not going to go into details right now. And ever since then, I've just been doing more spending time by myself and coming to my own realizations. And spending time with yourself is very, very vital. I need studying technology as much as possible because I see how a lot of people are in such a low lost state when it comes to state of being when it comes to technology, because nowadays technology is all. It really is. It's becoming more and more emerged in our reality. And I just think that it doesn't make sense for a person to not try to learn more about technology and to just allow themselves to be dumb and always asking for help. So that's why I recommend to all you listening right now, you better start studying technology and learning these computers, learning these smartphones, especially. I just got me a new Samsung Galaxy S8. And if any of you know the Samsung Galaxies, the newer ones, all the way from the S7 all the way to the newest ones, you know how highly advanced these smartphones are. And me looking at this S8, I'm like, yo, there's still so much to learn about this thing. And that's why every single day I try to learn as much as possible about this smartphone. It is amazing. And I'm even recording on my Samsung S8 right now, believe it or not. So I'm testing out the audio here. So now the effects of beliefs the effects of beliefs that they have in life and our relationships. So now, and every so often, I'm gonna keep checking to make sure that this thing is on. So you might hear a little bit of tapping. Just to turn it back on the screen. Okay, so now the effects of beliefs in life and relationships. Now our beliefs have a lot, deep impact on our life and relationships. Now I don't even know how the heck I'm going to start this. Now this information right here, I'm telling you, comes deeply from a lot of my own studying of myself and realizations of myself and analyzing of myself in relationships that I've been in, and coming to my own realizations. Because when you get to a certain, let me tell you this, when you get to a certain spiritual development level, highly expanded level, you will start to realize that there's less and less books that you have to depend on in order for you to get information. Especially if you understand how to program your own subconscious mind, because you can program your own subconscious mind to believe really whatever you want to believe so that you can perceive whatever it is that you want to perceive. And for me, my information is I've been programming it so that I can understand more about the subconscious mind and its functions. That, and also when you get on a higher spiritual expanded level, you'll be amazed at the understanding you have of spirituality and also life. So for me now, information just comes up to me about deep understandings of a variety of things of life, spirituality, relationships, and the subconscious mind. So that's where a lot of my stuff comes from. I don't read books as much as I used to, because the books was something that I started on as far as a basic foundation. But after a while, stuff just comes to me. And that's why sometimes I only do videos when I really have something that I feel is really, really necessary for people to learn. And this is one of the things that I feel like is something that I get this across. And all of this information that I'm sharing here is from like the past, I say 3 years of information, me studying and analyzing the subconscious mind and reality itself. I got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about reality itself and how artificial it is that we living in an artificial reality that people think is real, but it's not. Okay, so now, as far as beliefs in life, I'm sorry about going on that tangent, but I had to get that across. Beliefs in life and relationships. So what it is, how can I say that? How can I start this? In the Kabbalah, there's an ancient book called the Kabbalah, and one of the most popular sayings it says is the mind is all in the universe is mental. The mind is all in the universe is mental. Back then I did not understand this, but now that I greatly understand the subconscious mind and the mind itself in reality, now I truly understand why they say the mind is all, because it is true. Just as the Matrix movie, the first one where Morpheus said the mind cannot live without the body and the mind makes it real, that's exactly what it is. This reality is only real because our mind makes it real, and we have been taught that this reality is real, that the things and the people, places, and things that we see is real. Just like Morpheus said, what is real? How do you define real? And then he went into saying, if you're basing it off of what you can touch, see, and smell, that's just electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Bingo. That's exactly what it is. The matrix that we see, that we call reality, it is our brain, the human brain. But I won't go into, well, actually I can't, I have to go into this too. So your beliefs, your mind, your beliefs, and your brain are all intertwined with each other. And this is me analyzing this stuff right now. I mean, from years of me analyzing this stuff. So the brain itself, and you're going to have to figure out ways to sit down and really analyze this. And if you have to, then go ahead and play this back again. The brain itself is the projector. It is what is projecting everything that we see outwardly, and it makes us think that it's real. So it's just similar to a projector. Yeah, it projects outwardly. And now our mind is the processing unit that's connected to the brain, but the brain is the physical hardware that also deals with our human behavior in our physical body. And now our beliefs is the film to the projector. So as a individual, if you're watching a movie, a projection of a movie or anything else, if you want to change the movie, then you must change the film. So if you want to change your life, and many people have heard this before in the New Age movement, if you want to change your life, then you have to change your beliefs. And that is absolutely true. I'm telling you, I have done this many, many times, and I still do it till this day. And I even utilize changing my beliefs so that I can understand a variety of aspects of life, even metaphysics and spirituality. So now to the point where information just comes up to my conscious mind of information that I need to know. And then I sit there and I analyze it. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how it really works. It goes like this, this, and this. So that's how I understand reality also. And remember, everything is within. All of the information that we need to know about life, relationships, and spirituality is within. We really don't have to have a teacher because the teacher is inside of us. Once you understand that, and once you reach a certain spiritual development level, you'll really understand that, and then you will be able to go be guided throughout life by your spiritual guidance, internal guidance. And that is the reason why years ago I left religion, the Jehovah's Witness religion that I was born into. My mother, she had us into that religion. And after a while, like 19, about the age of 19, that's when I started to realize that the religion was not for me, and religion in general is not for me. And as the years progressed, the more and more I expanded spiritually, the more I realized that religion is not for me, and the more I started to depend on my internal guidance rather than external guidance. Till now, to the point where, to me, religion is kindergarten, like literally. There's so much that religion does not teach people, and especially information about the universe, information about the mind, how it works, the importance of psychological and emotional health. That's why a lot of people in religion, and also physical health, that's why a lot of people in religion, you see them dying from sickness, you see them struggling throughout life, they're overweight, they're unhealthy on so many levels. So it's like, if religion is really working for you, then why are there so many people still in bad health, and a lot of more people are dying in religion than sometimes people outside of religion? So people have to really start to analyze a lot of stuff that this society gives us. And that's something that most people do not do. They don't know how to analyze, and they don't know what and when to actually analyze. So they stay stuck on their known beliefs, aka programs. So for me, I call them programs because what we live in right now in this artificial reality actually is a huge program. It's a huge programs, and programs are within programs. Just like the Matrix, the second Matrix, the Oracle said programs hacking programs, and programs everywhere. She said something like that when it was on the bench. It's programs within programs. So it's one huge computer program. And that's something that you're going to have to figure out how to come to a realization to and stop believing in this reality as much as you've been taught. And that's what this channel here, I have here in my C.R.S.A channel, Committed Relationships and Spiritual Activity, which I might change that now. I might change that title, because I really wasn't thinking that much about my title, but now I'm starting to focus more on my channel, and I want to add more deeper information, because my channel is not a airy-fairy channel. My channel is about deep information that people need to know and want to know, who have already started their spiritual awakening and spiritual journey. And also I explain about personal development. Real deal information is not information of the masses or even for the masses. That's why a lot of people who have not reached their spiritual awakening, not even a little bit, will most likely won't understand a lot of my information that I share here. So with that said, now, your programs, aka beliefs that you have within your mind, create your reality. The mind creates your reality. I'll say it again. Hopefully I'll remember to put that on the screen. The mind creates your reality. Just as Morpheus said, your mind makes it real. So with our programs, it'll create scenarios for us to enter into, and scenarios to get us out of, whether we want to get out of or not. An example, you win the lottery. If you do not have positive programs, aka beliefs, that will support you to maintain that money and become even more wealthier, or at least maintain that wealth, but you have beliefs that go against it, you will lose that money rapidly. Literally. So that's why it's important, and that's why you see a lot of those lottery winners. Once they get the money, they might lose it within a few years, if not a year or a few months, because they don't have supportive beliefs to support that. So that goes the same thing with your relationships. If you don't have the supportive beliefs that will help you to support, that will help you behave appropriately within your relationships, then you will sabotage your relationships. And that's what a lot of people have been doing for many, many years. And that's because they have suffered greatly from the social programming that has been going on for years. And I'm going to go into social programming within this video. So now, let's start with, let me see, what's the next thing I want to say? Let's start with, where do beliefs come from? Okay. Now, where do beliefs come from? Beliefs largely come from these top sources: family members, especially your mother and your father; experiences from schooling and the media outlets; also social programming from the religions. So I'm going to say add that to it too, religions. And that's something I didn't write down, is religions. So I'm going to go through one by one briefly. So now, family members, starting with your mother and your father. Your mother and your father, I'm telling you, believe it or not, and some people might not believe this, but you got to get out of this, your own programming, your own current beliefs, thinking that your mother and your father is the end all be all, and that they're so lovable, and you have this human sentiment with your parents. And it's much more easier for me to talk that way because I don't have a close relationship with my parents, which I'm grateful for, because neither of them are very mature and neither of them have reached an adequate level of spirituality, and they still are stuck inside their own ego mind, and they're still in self-denial, especially my mother. So this is the reason why I do not seek to develop any kind of major relationship with either of my parents. So don't expect to hear me talking happy-go-lucky about my mother or my father. My father, he left completely when I was the age of 16. And they divorced when I was age 4, as I mentioned earlier. However, I am way outside of that human sentiment, because I'm telling you, as far as spirituality, it is your human sentiment that keeps you trapped from your higher spiritual consciousness. That is why the ego has been designed for humans. Okay, now what we're going to do is talk about how to observe and analyze your beliefs. But before we do that, I got to go ahead and explain to you the importance of personal development and the understanding of your own mind. Now, personal development is exactly what it is, what it says, is development of yourself. And it means personal because it's you, and you are the only one who has control and needs to take accountability for your own personal development, your development of yourself. And this development as far as enhancing yourself overall, holistically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. This is holistic health. If you focus only on your body, like a lot of these people are nowadays, and to me, I have realized in looking at a lot of these YouTube videos about fitness, I feel like now the new programming that the society controllers are getting people to focus on and believe in is their body, the fitness. So now, first it was, before the fitness, it was the veganism, the vegan, vegetarian religion. And I call that a religion because it is, in a form, a religion. Some people take veganism and vegetarianism way too seriously. That's why I call it a religion. Now we have the fitness trap, as I think I might have recorded on my YouTube channel here. I did a fitness trap video, what I do is I have a video series titled Psychological Traps. And that is when I go ahead and I explain the information that I have analyzed throughout society, all of the different psychological traps, all the major ones. And the fitness trap is one of them. People focus way too hard and too much on their physical body, and they completely leave out the mental aspect of themselves. That means that they're not holistically healthy. Yes, a person might look strong and beautiful or have all the muscles or just slim and in fit, but psychologically, if you really pay attention to them, you can tell that psychologically they do not have themselves together. This is why I mentioned holistic health, and I had to understand this myself throughout the past year. I understood the difference between holistic health versus the health that our society programs us. And let me tell you this again about the social programming. Whatever is consistently displayed throughout our society, that is a social program, and that is exactly what the controllers of this society here in America and around the world, wherever you're at, that is exactly what they want you to believe and perceive. Anything that they want you to avoid and they don't want you to reach up to, just like they was telling, like in the Bible, Adam and Eve not to eat the apple. There's a reason for that, and there's a reason why if you do tap into it, it's going to probably help you spiritually in some shape or form to raise up. To raise up. And that's the reason why, like, for example, they have all of these video games, they have all of these smartphones and computer games, computer stuff coming out, new cars. And I thought about it. I was like years ago, like when I was in my early 20s or in my teens, I would always wonder, like, why are all of these cars coming out every single year? Same make, same pretty much model, but it's just shaped differently. And I was trying to figure that out. It's another psychological trap. And I could probably do a psychological trap of consumerism or something like that, explaining why they're doing all this, but I'll explain briefly now. It's really to distract you. Anything they can do to distract you from tapping into your true spiritual knowledge, your true spiritual guidance. They want to do that because your true divine knowledge is internal, and anybody that is materialistic, that keeps them from the true spiritual knowledge, and that keeps their ego active. Materialism and consumerism deals with the ego. And the controllers of our societies, they know more about the ego than most people. This is why you need to make sure you understand this information so that you can protect yourself. And also, if you have a family or considering a family, you can be able to share this information with them and help protect them also. So that way you can guide your life the way you want to guide it, to where you want to guide it. So anyways, so now how do you observe and analyze your beliefs? Well, the same way that I did is I had a desire to improve myself, to focus on and I took full accountability for my own personal development. So that's the first thing. You have to take full accountability for your personal development, and you got to understand that the only person who can help improve you is you first and foremost. And yes, you can get information externally from yourself, but you still have to put in the work. So the next thing is you have to pay attention to the things that you do throughout your daily life and question, why do you believe the way that you believe in certain situations? And just really think about, is that the only way to go about doing the things that you go about doing? Let me see if I can give you a social program that keeps people trapped. Something that needs to be analyzed. What is it? Something that needs to be analyzed that I can share here. The family trap. let's go ahead and talk about this, the family psychological trap. Now, I'm not against family as a whole, but what I am against is families who are dysfunctional and they're toxic, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. Toxic families are not good for you as an individual who wants to grow psychologically, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. These type of individuals, families, are not good for you. The family members that are good for you are the ones who are nurturing and who want to help you grow. They are supportive. They're a great supporting cast. These are very, very rare in families these days. Me, I have a family that is highly separated, highly immature, ignorant, still trapped into their ego, and toxic. Me focusing on my spiritual growth, I know the importance of keeping them at a distance. So your social belief and your innate belief to stick with your family regardless if they're toxic or not, that is something that you have to analyze and really think about. Is it really healthy for you to continue to associate as much as you have been with your family? And if you have not been associating with them currently, but you've been desiring to get back to, whether it be your lost father, your lost mother, your lost sister, your lost brother, if you're going to do it, then you have to see if they're going to be supportive, and you have to gauge their psychological, emotional, and spiritual well-being to see if they're going to be able to help contribute to your life, rather than you contributing a whole bunch of your resources, including your energy, because your energy is a resource, into them, and they're not reciprocating it back. For me, as an example, I've been raised by my mother. However, me coming into consciousness and really thinking about my reality, I realized that I have been putting in more effort helping her out than she has been reciprocating it back to me. So I said, okay, now I see what's going on. So I'm not about to allow myself to be a slave. I've been doing that way long enough with religion and working at these jobs ever since I was 14 years of age. I'm not going to be doing it with my mother or any of my family members. So I decreased my association with my mother and helping her out with a lot of things that I've been helping her out. And I've been going out of my way like crazy. So I rarely ever even speak to my mother because she's still, like I said, trapped into her ego, and the ego deals with self-denial. People who are always in self-denial do not want to learn more about themselves to improve themselves, because the ego has them trapped thinking that everything is all right. That's what's going on a lot in here in America. People think that, and they've been socially programmed to think that if they have a car, a house, they have money, that they're all set. Those are just physical options. They're not a necessity, as far as they do not dictate if a person actually is a mature adult. It is the mind, the quality and the strength of a person's mind that dictates if they are mature or not, and if they are a mature adult. That's why you see a lot of these people who have a car, a house, whether or their own place to live, and money. You see a lot of them, they still are really, really unhealthy on so many levels, especially psychologically and emotionally, and they still are emotionally children, psychological children at large. This is why you need to observe and analyze your own beliefs and your foundation that comes from your family, and question a lot of these things. So the other thing you got to do is observe your interactions within your social engagements with people. You observe your response, even in your head. If you're not actually having a response physically, think about your response psychologically, about how your mind is transforming within the engagement, and pay attention to that. Because if it's a highly negative, emotionally charged feeling that you get about something and it's negative, then there is a negative belief that is out of alignment with your spiritual self. As some people who may know Bashar is, and he mentions it also, is it's you're out of alignment with your true self. Your true self is that oneness inside of you, that spiritual being, the real you. But your ego you is very, very selfish. So check that out. When you start thinking about those selfish thoughts, it's childish, very, very childish. It's all consuming. It's all consuming. Even if people are a generous individual, many times that generosity is due to their ego, and it's a selfish feeling that they get that raises their ego up rather than actually genuinely giving from the heart. So I'm telling you, this ego thing, me analyzing my own ego and observing other people, it is very, very complex. And if you do not make it your goal to learn the ego, you will be continuously trapped in all of its mechanisms, because it has so many different mechanisms to try to get your attention, to believe in it, and to get you trapped into your humanism. And the number one way to negate your human ego is is humility. You have to force yourself, if you're not already innately humble, like some people are from birth, and it also comes from their parents, then you have to force yourself to do something humble to humble your ego. And that negates the ego, and that cuts it off for at least a certain amount of time. It'll cut it off. So you have to be humble as much as possible. That's why I do my best throughout my videos to avoid trying to talk like I am the end all be all with my information, and I'm not speaking in third person like some people do in their videos, or you see them in person. If I do it, I might do it intentionally for some effect, but not coming from an ego standpoint. And my information now, my videos now, are a lot less egotistical than they were in the past, because in the past I was still stuck in my ego, and I didn't understand it as much as I do now. So you got to just overall observe yourself and your reactions to people, first and foremost. Now, and if you have any other questions you want me to expand on that, then go ahead and put that into your comment section. Or if you want you have private questions, you can send me them through your my email at NeoOneness subliminals @gmail.com. That will most likely be in this video here with a image or something, and definitely in the description. So all you got to do is either copy and paste it or write it down somewhere, or in your phone, something like that. Okay, so now we got the next topic. The next section is how to program your mind for new beliefs, new programs. As I said, beliefs are programs. So, like I said, now the top things our subconscious mind is programmed. How it's programmed is symbolism, which is still imagery, audio, and definitely trauma. Any major trauma that goes on within a person's life, whether they're molested, they're verbally or physically abused, being punched or whatever, or even being shocked. That's why you see the movie Captain America, Winter Soldier, and even Civil War. You see Bucky being traumatized with the shocking. That is programming his subconscious mind to be controlled. So that is another way too. But the main ones is, we see every single day, is imagery and audio, through audio, and repetition. Definitely repetition over and over again. So what you're watching on TV over and over again, you are literally allowing downloads in your subconscious mind. And what your subconscious mind is it is what is controlling your reality and your overall self. So if you know that, and you know that these beliefs are programs and it's programming your own mind, then that means somebody else is programming your own reality, giving you images that this society wants you to believe in so that you can create a reality that is really a trap for your own self. So the way that people are living in modern day society, the masses, they are living the way that their mind has been programmed to live based off of an external source. This is why it's very, very important to learn your mind and how it functions and learn how to program it. So what you can consciously do is, the free ways you can do it is, one of the things that I used to do before I got into understanding how to do things myself is I used to write out affirmations on little post-it notes. This is a free, I don't want to say poor man's way of doing this, but this is for like the people who are just starting out and they can either try it out or who they don't have the money to